Hey everyone, and welcome to Just Parlays. I'm Jim Williams, and over to my left, Mr. Chris King. Chris, how are you, buddy?
Fun time. Yourself?
Not bad. Good times for all last night. Had a good night in the NBA and on the ice, and baseball was fun as well.
And don't forget the Tampa Bay Bandits did cover the line last night.
Yeah, they did, 17-3. I did actually watch the first half of that game, just to get. I just wanted to see. I hadn't really watched more than a couple of minutes of USFL football, so I just wanted to see what it was like. And to be honest, it was fun.
The weird thing for Pittsburgh is they only activated 3 receivers, so they were going to have 37 offensive linemen on the field and still couldn't run the ball.
Yep. And
their first 7 runs, I think they totaled 6 yards or something like
that. I will say I forget who the color analyst was on last night's show, but hey Sly, how you doing, buddy? He said that that the Bandits had spent so much time in the backfield of Pittsburgh that they could charge rent, which I thought was a pretty good line. So there's that going on. Quick, you know what, guys? Real quick, so you know, for your TV watching, the NBA tonight, there's 3 games. All 3 are on TV nationally. NBA on TNT, it's the Heat and Phoenix, the Heat and Hawks, and Phoenix and NOLA on TNT. Minnesota and Memphis is on NBA TV, and TBS has the Dodgers and Braves. So that's where you can go to watch your TV tonight, and that's where everybody's going to be. It's Hawks, Heat, and Phoenix and NOLA on TNT. Minnesota and Memphis on NBA TV, and TBS has the Dodgers and the Braves. So Chris just left. He'll be back. Meanwhile, what we're going to do is talk about, let's talk a little bit about our friends at DraftKings, okay? Now, DraftKings has a really good promotion coming up and for max wagers, folks. And here's how it works, okay? It's fun, it's easy to do, and it's the kind of stuff that that we always look for here at Max Wagers. And it's the opportunity to basically win some money by betting on baseball. Okay? So here we go. Here's the deal. And that is, bet $5 to win $200 in free bets. Make your first deposit of $5 and bet on any Major League Baseball money line, and you can win $200 in free bets. Okay? So again, that's bet $5 to win $200 in free bets. Make your first deposit. Bet $5 or more on any Major League Baseball money line to win $200 in free bets. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to use our promo code, which is WAW, which of course Winners and Winers Video. Get all the information in the show box below. As always, please bet responsibly, and of course, most importantly, you must be 21 years of age to participate. All right? Cool. Waiting for Chris to come back. Sly, how's it going with you? Everybody out there are having a good time today. And we're all just having an opportunity here to check things out. Hey, Matthew, how's it going? Let's go Grizz. That's right, the Grizz play tonight. And, when Chris comes back, as I'm sure he will in just a second. Here he is. It's going well. Sly, how are you, buddy? Good to see you and Matthew in the house. Here's Chris in the house, too. Welcome back, Chris.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have a couple of 5-week-old kittens in here, and they ran a trip over the surge protector and reset it.
Okay, well, it's good to have a surge protector and kittens who take care of them. Okay, so we're going to go to the Major League Baseball. Sly and Matthew's in the house already. Brewers and the Pirates. Now, this is not deja vu, folks. We're back here again. And why are we back here again? Because fading the Pirates seems to be a full-time job here at Just Parlays.
Well, I didn't do anything to write home about yesterday, as they were beaten 6-1.
Right.
Granted, everybody's trying to, because Christian Yelich had one good at bat, they're trying to talk about how he should be comeback player of the year. Just because you hit a grand slam against the Pirates doesn't really move the needle that much. But, I mean, we're looking at the fact that, Milwaukee did get the win yesterday. I'm sure Lex will be very disappointed since he talked about the Pirates, winning the first 5 innings and the entire game. Only to see that not paying out. Pittsburgh had 8 hits yesterday. They went 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They're probably not going to get those kind of opportunities today against Corbin Burns. The reigning NL Cy Young winner, of course, the major factor in the Brewers' rotation. Meanwhile, JT Brubaker, who walked as many guys as he struck out so far this season, with 7 walks and 7 whiffs and 7 1/3. That's over 2 starts. You look at that ERA, it's over 9. You look at that whip at over 2. Those numbers aren't going to bode well when you're a team that doesn't necessarily set the world on fire offensively, especially on the road. You look at Pittsburgh, they're at 4.1 runs a game overall this season, but that drops to just 3 a night on the road this season. Milwaukee struggled at the plate in the early going. We talked about that yesterday. Mm-hmm. But hey, they did put 6 on the board in back-to-back games now, so they've got that going for them. They took advantage of the fact that they drew 5 walks in the contest. Also took advantage of a wild pitch because they only had 6 hits. But 3 of those went for extra bases. And, getting those kind of benefits are something that you can't overlook in a game like this. And Brubaker will give you the opportunity to get free base runners. We saw it against Washington in his last start. He walked 3 in the first in a game where Pittsburgh was down 3-0 before they even came up and bat. And they didn't come back to beat the Nationals that day, but still, you can't put yourself in a hole like that on a regular basis if you want to have any kind of success. Milwaukee 6-1 in their last 7 home against a right-handed starter. They're 5-1 in their last 6 as a home favorite. 5-1 in their last 6 against a right-handed starter. Period. Pirates 15-46 in their last 61 on the road. They're 35-91 in their last 126 meetings in Milwaukee. The Pirates are 1-6 in their last 7 against a starter. The whip less than 1.15. Unknown. What's wrong with the Brewers? They forgot how to hit. I think they left their bats in spring training. You look at the numbers for the Brewers this season. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. As a team, they're hitting a whopping 213. And, that's not really going to move the needle that much. You look at some of the key guys in that lineup, Clint Wong at 205, Willie Adams is at 200, Lorenzo Cain's hitting 190, Hunter Renfroe's hitting 189, and he strikes out 1 out of every 3 at-bats. Yelich, he had 2 hits yesterday that got him all the way up to 242. That grand slam, he drove in more runs yesterday than he had all season long coming in because he only had 2 runs batted in coming into the contest. You've got McCutchen, he's hit 262, but he's not necessarily starting all the time, or they're shuffling around as a DH and things like that. But a lot of these guys, they're not hitting, and that's going to be an issue now, of course. As the weather gets better, maybe that'll turn around. But the Brewers can't sit around and rely just on pitching in the early going if they want to hang or build a lead in the NL Central because the pitching hasn't been all that great yet either. You look at Woodruff has struggled, Peralta has struggled in the rotation. Burns and Lauer and Hauser have pitched well, but you haven't really gotten to Josh Hader that much. He's only pitched in 4 games so far this year. Evan Williams has been roughed up a bit. He's had control issues, walking 6 in 3 innings of work, plus giving up 5 hits. Will the Brewers figure it out? I'm sure they will, but when you're 13th in the National League in runs scored, and we're now coming in at almost 2 weeks into the season, that's got to be cause for concern for Craig Counsell and company. What do you say, Jim?
Yeah, I think that when you're talking about, yesterday we were talking about Christian Yelich was just hitting a little above 200. So, right. Yeah, he had a great game yesterday. So, what, he got up to 240?
22.
So, So, still a long way to go before the Brewers. And the Brewers have been scoring runs. I mean, it's not like they're, abusing baseball. I mean, they're playing small ball, which is not overwhelmingly normal Brewers way. I mean, they usually can bang the ball out of the park. But I think, like you said, they came out of spring training a bit anemic, and they haven't really got back to it yet. So just because I had one good day against the Pirates, I wouldn't exactly hang the season on that one.
Yeah, and they got a lot of older guys, too, if you look. I mean, Kane's 36, Kutchin is 35, even Walk is 31, Chase Peterson is 32, he's hitting 095. Yankees 30, we've talked about the ages he's had the last couple of years. Omar Narvaez is 30. So, I mean, we're not talking about a bunch of 22, 23, 24-year-olds in this lineup. The weather's going to take a toll, especially when it's 35, 40 degrees. We talked about that yesterday with the Rays going to the Windy City to face the Cubs, where, they had snow. It's tough to hit in that kind of weather. But, the problem is, it's not like you're the only team doing it. You're playing another team that's going to play in those same conditions. So you can't just go around and say, well, it's not our fault that we can't hit. No, it is, because if you get beat by somebody that's playing in the same conditions as you, obviously, somebody can hit the ball. Yeah,
I mean, basically, a lot of baseball players will tell you when it's cold weather, when you lift the ball, it feels like you're, put your hand in a hornet's nest. I mean, it just stings like all get out. But, it's been a time-honored tradition that pitching has always been ahead of hitting early in the season, and then, things to average out. I don't know if the Brewers are, Harvey Wallbangers of the days of old, but they definitely are capable of hitting better than they are doing so far. So there's that. So
yeah, it's definitely been a disappointing campaign if you're a fan of the Brewers at the plate.
And Matthew, just for the heck of it, buddy, we're going to be getting to that game in not too distant future, and I'm glad you didn't get to go. Matthew's going to go see the folks going to go see the Grizz play tonight. So good for you, buddy.
Spoiler alert, I didn't put that game up on the board, but I was backing Memphis. I was a little leery with the way they didn't play defense the other day, so I didn't put that one in as one of the top options. But I think Memphis should bounce back. John Morant putting up video clips of Jordan after the game one loss. You can't put up clips like that and then turn around and lose again. So you have to think that Memphis, they got punched in the mouth a bit in that one. You have to think they'll bounce back at home here, because you don't want to go to the Target Center in a 2-0 hole when you're the higher seed by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But hopefully you have a good time. Hopefully the beer won't be $16 like at the Gila River Arena. And hopefully, for your sake, Matthew, Memphis will come out with a win.
You never know. Here's the game on TBS tonight, Dodgers and the Braves. And how about it? Last night, Freddie Freeman, first time up against his old team, and he puts one in the seats.
Yeah, and, this continues basically the Atlanta hangover. They won the World Series last year. They've struggled out of the gates. They're 5-7.
They lost 2 out of 3 to the Nationals.
Yep, they're hitting a collective .233 on the year, so they're not hitting all that well either. Their pitching staff hasn't been great. They've got a whip of 1.28 as a staff. I mean, Atlanta's riding power because they've got 15 homers, but the problem is if you're hitting homers and nobody's on base, you're not really denting anybody on the mound in that area. Now, I know everybody's talking about, Ronald Acuna's down in AAA on a rehab assignment. They hope he's going to come back in the first week of May. Guess what? That doesn't help you right now. That's still 2.5 weeks away from now.
Well, that second line you have there, Max Fried at 0-2 with a 5.73 ERA, that tells you right there all you need to know so far about the Braves, because Max Fried is their, basically their ace.
Right, and he's been cuffed around. He's given up 15 in 11 innings. Everybody will point to the fact that he's only walked one guy, but guess what? Guys don't have to draw a walk to hurt you if they're tagging you around the park like that again this season.
They're pounding you.
Yeah, he hasn't given up a homer yet, so, let's give credit for that. But the fact remains, 15 hits in 11 innings isn't going to get it done. Opposing teams have a 326 average against him so far in his 2 starts. Granted, it's a small sample size, but just remember this. In his small sample size before when he was coming up, in 2018, when he pitched 3 and 2/3 innings, the hitters had 224 work against him. In the COVID-short 2020 season, in 56 innings, opposing hitters batted .211. And last year, when he threw 165 and 2/3 innings during the regular season, opposing hitters batted .227. So you're talking so far at a 100-point higher clip than what he saw last year. Now, she's going to bounce back and get that into things, but his line drive percentage is up to 28.9%, and his ground ball percentage has dropped from 51 to 44.7. That means these guys are making some good contact against him, and that's going to be troublesome as the year goes on, especially if he can right that ship. On the flip side, you're facing with Walker Buehler. We know what Buehler can do on the mound. We saw it last year. We've seen it the way things have gone here. Buehler's 1-0. He's won like for an hour, 10 2/3. But the Dodgers, they've won 5 in a row at home. They're averaging 6.6 runs a game there. Atlanta is just averaging 3.2 runs a game on the road this season. The Dodgers 44 and 12 in the last 56 as a home favorite. 44 and 12 in their last 56 against starters with a whip greater than 1.30. Look at that, they're 44 and 12 in their last 56 at home. So apparently, 44 and 12 are numbers you should be playing in the lotto today if you're backing the Dodgers, because obviously they're popping up all over the place. Meanwhile, the Braves just 2 and 5 in their last 7 on the road against right-handed starters. 1 and 4 overall in their last 5 against right-handed starters. And we're not talking about a bunch of guys on the mound that were setting the world on fire.
To begin with.
Yeah, because if you look at some of these guys that have pitched against Atlanta in the early going this season, let me just take a look here and see who they faced. We're not talking about a murderer's row of pitchers by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, we've seen them faced Vladimir Gutierrez and Hunter Green of Mets. We saw them get lit up by Josh Butchers of the Nationals, who was a throw-in starter because somebody else was going to start that day. I'm trying to remember.
Who was supposed to start?
Yeah, back on April 11th, it was supposed to be somebody else, and then they went on Sanchez.
Yeah, it was Anibal Sanchez.
Yeah. Then they faced Corbin, they faced Josiah Gray, who's pitching today.
Josiah Gray's a good pitcher.
True, but he's still young.
Oh, yeah, 22 years old.
They faced Joe Musgrove. They faced Mackenzie Gore, the hotshot prospect for the Padres. Then they faced Nick Martinez, who's back from Japan. He wasn't very good when he pitched for the Rangers before he went to Japan, so now apparently people think he's going to be serviceable because he put in some good numbers over there in the NPB. Then they faced Darvish and were handcuffed by him, and we just saw Darvish get lit up by the Giants in his previous start. And then they faced Kershaw yesterday and proceeded to do pretty much nothing in the first 5 innings against him. They got 3 in the 6th when Kershaw tired, but after that they were blanked by the bullpen. And now you're going to face Buehler, and that's not going to bode well for Atlanta either.
Yeah. And then just talking about the Dodgers there for a second. So part of it, like you say, is
you're right. The line did switch. I forgot to update that this morning. When I put it up last night, they still had it at minus 230. And when I went through this morning, I missed the line at the top. It's supposed to be minus 155.
Okay, well.
In fact, I've got it on my screen. It's 155, and the money line is plus 140. Or the run line, I should say.
So, okay. So the Braves and the Dodgers, it looks like it'll be another win in Chavez Ravine for the home team. And
they'll be 6-0 then at home.
Yeah. And they actually,
for the year for them.
Yeah, they actually scored some runs before the 8th inning last night. So
yeah, they had what? Well, we said they scored 18 in the 8th going into yesterday, and 16 in the 4th, and they put up 5 in the 4th.
There you go. Those are the two numbers you got to remember. It's not a bad situation. Nice town, Matt's from Austin Riley, Ricky Spinhouse. So some definitely quality talent there, Matthew. Quality talent. Hope you enjoy the Memphis game. We already talked about it. We hope they hope you get to see a win. That'd be.
Yeah, Steve likes to call him Ricky Spinhouse instead of Ricky Stenhouse when we do the NASCAR show because he inevitably finds a way to wipe out and create havoc. Well, of course, for those of you that missed the NASCAR show last week, we've all had to listen to Reichel talk about how he picked Kyle Busch to win the race. But let's face it, Kyle Busch shouldn't have won that race last week on the dirt track in Bristol. He was helped by Chase Briscoe wiping out Tyler Reddick, among others. So if you see Reichel, just tell him that, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Right. Well, all right, we'll leave it. It was fun to watch the race the other day, the NASCAR race at Bristol with the mud, but it's not so much.
The rain didn't help.
Yeah, I was going to say the rain made it like they were running on ice for the last few times. And one of the things about NASCAR is when you start getting toward the end of the race and with caution flag, you're going to see a lot of caution flags because everybody starts to get a little antsy and they take chances and bang bang and boom, there you go, you're doomed. All right, let's go to the NHL where tonight there's a couple of interesting games starting off with Wild and Canadians. Now, it's interesting for the Wild, not so much for the Canadians.
Well, I think it's interesting for the Canadians because I've seen Carey Price for the second straight game.
Right.
I still think it's rather pointless having a guy that hadn't played all season come back for these meaningless games. I get the fact that, like you said, they might want to get him up to speed and what have you, but let's face it, the guy's going to be 35 by the time next season starts. You still owe him a crap load of money that nobody's going to want to take on. Nobody wants to pay him $10.5 million for the next, I want to say it's, what did I say?
You said 3 years.
27?
Yeah.
Yeah, so nobody's going to want to pay that kind of money regardless of what he does down the stretch. He's clearly not the same guy that he was earlier in his career when he won the Hart Trophy and the Jennings and the Pearson and the Vezina all in one season back in 2014-15.
But no, go ahead. I was just going to say, I sent you an article the other day from The Athletic about the fact that Canadians fans were lining up in droves just to either see him or get his autograph when they filled up the building in Montreal just to see Carey Price play. So
that's because they had to have something to be excited about. Let's face it, they're still not a good hockey team, and whether he comes back and plays next year and is their number one goaltender or not, they're still not going to be a good hockey team. No. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's got a $10.5 million cap hit. It's the highest goaltending contract in the league. Mm-hmm. You're going to pay him that until he's 38.
Right.
And he's not Marc-Andre Fleury at this point.
No. Even Marc-Andre Fleury's not Marc-Andre Fleury at this point.
Right, but I mean, he's basically playing like the former Montreal goaltender that we talked about, that Bruce Boudreau should never start again, and Yaroslav Halak.
Halak had one very, very, very hot, run, and I witnessed it because it was instant caps, and nobody could score against Halak in that particular series. But that was, we get on guys like Brandon Holtby, right? But the Capitals won a cup with Brandon Holtby. And, got in the playoffs with Semyon Varlamov. And, some of these guys, when they go other places, life is not as good. So, We'll see. Ninja on the Tampa Bay Rays, -115. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I'd be biased in that one because obviously I'm a Chicago fan. I took Chicago yesterday, and we talked about how Tampa Bay has struggled in the weather, and they struggled yesterday as well. I mean, they finished with, 2 runs? I think they had a half dozen hits or so.
I think it was 3-2, yeah. Or 4-2, one of the three.
Yeah, 4-2 because Schwindel hit a homer in the 8th.
Right.
But, I mean, Tampa Bay's offense has not looked all that great so far. It looks like they're starting Matt Whistler tonight, who fans are familiar with because he pitched out of the bullpen for us a couple of years ago. So, I don't know. Is he going to be an opener-type situation? What's Kevin Cash going to do there?
Yeah, I think so because last night they wasted a good pitching outing.
Flanagan pitched well.
Flanagan. I mean, he pitched well. But, yeah, this is an opener game today for the Nationals. So
I mean, who's going to be the bulk inning guy?
I don't know.
Is he Yarbrough still on the IL?
Right. It may not be a bulk inning. Maybe something.
1 inning at a time.
1 inning at a time, or a couple innings. So, what's your top 3 picks of today in all sports? The spread. V. Russell, we'll get to that in a little while, okay, buddy? We will get to that in a little while. Let's finish up on Minnesota and Montreal as we move on. Hey, V, you're on Facebook. Which Facebook page are you watching this from? Just out of curiosity. If you fill that in, that'd be great. So we'll get to you. Don't worry.
Yeah, but like Jim was saying, Montreal 3-12 in their last 15 games of winning for 600. 1-7, lost 8 after the home loss of at least 3 goals. They lost 8-4 to Washington over the weekend. They're 0-4 in their last 4 on 2 days of rest. And Minnesota has owned this series. They've won 11 of the last 12 meetings between these teams. The Wild still listed a fit for down the stretch because they're trying to battle with St. Louis for home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs in the Central Division. We'll have 102 points. The Wild have 101. They've got a game in hand. They won't use it up tonight because both teams will be in action tonight. The Blues host, I believe it's Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they host the Bruins. So, a lot at stake for Minnesota. They can't overlook picking up 2 points against a deadbeat team like Montreal that's been out of the playoff race since before Thanksgiving. And the way Minnesota's played against Montreal in recent years, you have to give them the upper hand here. With Cam Talbot and over the aforementioned Marc-Andre Fleury.
Right. And Marc-Andre Fleury's going to start, for them. So
I think he's been getting more games than Talbot at this point. I mean, it's like Kekkonen was getting more starts than Fleury had before they traded him to San Jose.
Right. I think the key here is just for them. I mean, they say there's urgency for the Wild standpoint because they just can't afford to lose. They have to got to get moving into playoff mode. Right now, they're not there yet.
You talk about a critical loss when you're talking stuff they have in the AHL yesterday. Look no further than the Vegas Golden Knights,
who showed
away a prime opportunity to put some distance between themselves and other teams. But instead, they gagged and lost 3-2 to New Jersey at home. Now, all of a sudden, you've got a Vancouver team that's won 6 straight, just 1 point behind Vegas in the Pacific Division.
I guess I must have watched that game last night.
And they're only 4 points behind the Kings, who hold the final in that division, or 5 back. Yeah, Michigan plus who the 2 wild spots. So, for Vancouver, Vegas blew it last night. You have to wonder. Now, this is an interesting stat that I saw run today. If you look at things, Jack Eichel was number 1 overall pick in 2015. Been a great goal of 0.5 games in his career. Well, you look at a bunch of guys that they're different way later, and then Anthony Bouvier and the Islanders played like 40 playoff games, and all these other guys. Eichel was supposed to be the savior. He wasn't in Buffalo. Everyone was excited when they picked him up. But, he's done even less than stellar, I would say, in Vegas. At this point, they might not make the playoffs again.
Anything's possible. Speaking of playoffs, there's one team that's definitely going to be there, the Panthers.
Yes, unfortunately for all of us.
Yeah. And they are taking an Islanders team that isn't going to be in the playoffs. So, very trust.
Trotz Islanders eliminated after losing Sunday's game to the Leafs at Scotiabank Arena. Now they get to come home and face Florida. On the plus side, at least this game's not in Sunrise because we know how dangerous the Panthers are on home ice. In this case, they have to go to the UBS Arena where nobody seems to score. It seems like it's a black hole offensively. If you look at the numbers this season in home games for the Islanders, they average 5.19 goals a game. The Islanders 2.86. They give up 2.33 at home. The Panthers, they average 4.19 on the season, which leads the league. On the road, dropping to 3.65. So they're a little bit stifled offensively at home. Although I'm not sure why there's such wide disparity, because at home they average 4.71 goals a game, which is why we're banking on that home ice advantage for as long as they keep it. In the Eastern Conference playoffs, at least. Nice, I'll have their hands full at the end with the Colorado, so they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Looking at Sergei Bobrovsky, 36-6 and 266 goals against, 9-12 saves, 19 shots between the pipes for the Panthers. Ilya Sorokin, 25-16 and 7, 231 goals against, 9.27 percentage and 7 shots. You have to wonder what Sorokin's record would look like if he played on a team that actually score. If you look, he's got 23 listed displayed in goals against, that's substantially better than Bobrovsky, and save percentage is better than Bobrovsky. And he's got more shots than pretty much anyone in the league not named Jacob Markstrom. So, I mean, think about that if he was playing on a team that could score. He'd probably be in consideration for the Vezina, like Shesterkin is, or Bertie Kemper, or even Bob with his middle-of-the-road numbers. The Oilers 25th, 4 and 2.75. They're 6th in goals against a 2.72. 43 and 9 in their last 52 against teams with a losing record. 9 in their last 11 against the Metropolitan Division. 17 and 5 in their last 22 on the road. New York is 4-13 in their last 17 against teams with a winning percentage above 600. 6 and 22 in their last 28 as an underdog, and 2 and 10 in their last 12 as home underdog.
Ain't nothing to write him about.
No, it's not. Probably the main reason why the Islanders are for the golf course this year instead of the postseason.
Well, funny thing about the Islanders, when we're talking about, how defense and Barry Trotz is important. Offense, very important too, because if you don't score, you can't win. Ironically, they're not the best color man in the business, really. Take point for us to steal it from you.
The broadcasting school really paid off.
That's right. Their money's worth. Trotz in a totally non-sequitur. Trotz and Kenny Albert were roommates for a year on the road when Ken was doing his first job broadcasting the Baltimore Skipjacks, a team which was coached by Barry Trotz. So they were roomies on the road.
Good old Baltimore Skipjacks.
There you go. Question from Michael. Big red in Tampa Bay and Toronto tonight.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Tampa Bay is going to, last I saw, this is when I updated the slides earlier, they were going -5 something, 530. Yeah, 530. I know I put it in before for the show just because I wasn't going to just put up with it too. But Philadelphia is a horrible team. Toronto going off at -470 now, so it's gone up. Apparently no one has faith in the Flyers, but they swept the season series by the Sabres. What do you expect? Martin Jones expected to start in for the Flyers. He's hitting 6-3 with a 351 goals against. And probably, they won't have Austin Matthews. He's going to rest again tonight with an undisclosed injury. They went healthy for the playoffs. Jake Muzzin will play tonight. You look at recent games for Martin Jones. His last 3 games, he's got 15 goals on 90 shots. You need to find out that's bad goaltending. It's an increased save percentage for those keeping track at home. He's 3-6 in his last 10, and the decision was because he had a relief at 9-2 lacking by 1 week. So he didn't get a decision, but he still gave up schools on 7 shots. You look at the numbers, there are some ugly numbers out there, but this time of year there inevitably are. If you look at the NHL as a whole, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 10 games favored over -200 tonight. And so the way you hold are games where the plans go back-to-back, like Nashville, or Florida's basically right on the cusp, so they would actually be 6. And then you have Anaheim or Columbus and the Sharks, where neither team is going anywhere. So not much of a disparity between bad teams.
That's the way it goes. Before we move on, speaking of betting, there's some fun stuff going on, buddy. At Caesars Sportsbook. Caesars Sportsbook is going to give you $1,100 first bet insurance. Place your first-time wager of up to $1,100 and get it back in the form of a bet you lose. Okay? So that's a pretty good deal. Again, Caesars Sportsbook. $1,100 first bet insurance. Place your first-time wager of up to $1,100 and get it back in the form of a free bet. Now, obviously, get after this. That's right. Use a promo code. And our promo is right there. And it's in the shop below. So by all means, check out our show box. We greatly would appreciate it. By all means, understand the importance of being 21 years of age, because otherwise you can't participate, and always be responsible. Okay, so there you go, girls. Great to know. One quick thing we got here. A couple of things. One, we got a special gift for you, and that is a baseball guide that over 100 pages tells you how to bet baseball. And Chris King can vouch for the abilities of the many writers that contributed to it. It's a really good resource. It's also in the show box below. And if you like Chris King, as we all do, and you want his picks for, in your email box every morning, that's also in the show box below. You have to fill out the form, and link to that is in the show box. So all kinds of these in the show box below. Be sure to check it out. Meanwhile, we're headed to the hardwood for the association and tonight's NBA playoff action.
And at the FTX Arena, we saw Miami stifle Jay Young and the Hawks in Game 1. Based on what we saw, I don't really see much of a reason that things are going to change in Game 2. Given a lot of pressure on Young to try and carry his team offensively, the injury report here, Bogdanovic is probable. Clint Capella is out with a hyperextended knee. And Williams also out with covered. Apparently that means that John Collins is suddenly not on the injury report, so apparently he's going to try to gut out. He hasn't played in the last month or so with that finger and the foot injury. I know played in Game 1, he was limited there, but now he's playing. Question is, he basically playing because Capella's hurt. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm the Heat, I would go in at Collins and see what he can do. Is he going to play more than 21 minutes?
I don't like
it's going to be interesting. Yeah, the Heat pretty much dominated that game from finish the other night. Now, on the injury report, you see that Bio is listed as questionable with quad contusion. Marquis wears a hip flicker. PJ Tucker has a calf strain. If these guys can sit out a playoff game because of little injuries like that, Pat Riley will find the quickest way to get them out of town. It's bad enough that Bio made a bracket about not being named a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. And his argument was that the Heat don't get as many nationally televised games as the other guys that were on the board. Well, look at the other guys on the board. You had just for the Suns. Well, they're going to be on TV. They're to the finals. Mark Smart plays in Boston. Everybody likes the Celtics. They're going to be on TV. Where I kind of ran a little bit on water was because third game was Rudy Gobert days. Now, I'm a Utah fan, but a Utah fan since back in the day before Andrew Dantley was traded, when Karl Malone was still playing Deanna Tick, and Stockton was playing in Vega, and everybody liked to talk about Marquis. For all the talk about these teams.
And Hot Rod was still their voice.
Yeah, there you go. And Frank Layden was their coach, not Jerry Sloan. For all the talk about how these guys get away national team games, Miami was featured on national team 22 times a season. That was at 26. That's not a massive differential. Clearly, he missed 25 games because he had some surgery. He needs to get his head cleared and focused on the Atlanta Hawks, not the fact that he wasn't selected as finals for a board that most people don't pay attention to anyway because they pay attention to Defensive Player of the Year. As it was for Scarts, it's 95, 96, I think, to win it. When you look at it here, I don't have a ton of faith in the Hawks. They took, 81 points in Game 1. Yeah. And that's because they scored 31 in the quarter when he was already tied. You're trying to really Trae Young's 1 for 12 from the floor. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm saying he's going to go 1 for 12 again and score 8 points. Right. You're talking about a tough team to beat in Miami. We talked about before, Jim, about the depth that they have. And it's Bolster knows who to go to at any given time and get the most out of his players. It wins.
Justo wants to know about the Heat. Are you in any way concerned about them going to have points?
No. Atlanta was 17-26 owned when you got the playing game when they played London and losing game one. But he plays one at home. Just to take a quick look at splits. How about this? They played on the road. And then outscored.
You jump on that. Let me grab Michael here a second. Michael, is Eric Spoelstra one of the underrated coaches in the NBA? That would be correct, sir. He didn't get much love when they won championships with LeBron James. And trust me, when you have to manage LeBron James, you not only deserve coach here, you deserve possible sainthood. It's not an easy thing to do. So, yeah, Michael, you're right. Eric Spoelstra is one of the most underrated coaches. Remember that the guy who is his boss happens to be Pat Riley. So, look how long Spoelstra's been around. He's been around for, I would say, is Eric like the second or third longest tenured coach in the NBA at this point? One team? I think he's behind Pop.
He's been there since 2009. Because he was an assistant before that, going all the way back to 97,
right.
98.
Right. And so Pop would be the only one that has more time in the league than he does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would be, Pop's been there since, Nixon was president.
Since they literally, built the Alamo around Pop, so.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, it goes Pop and Spoelstra, and then you go to the next one is Steve Kerr, who was hired in May of 2014. And Quinn Snyder was hired in June of 2014.
Well, short.
Around the top five, Michael Malone was been in since June of 2015. Every other team in the league not had their coach longer than May of 2018.
Yeah, we had baseball here in a second. See, Ian has a question. Abraham has a question, and Ninja has a question. So there's a definite Hall of Famer, probably. All right, let's go.
He's got the record.
He's got the credentials.
54-53 in regular season. He's 86-58 in the postseason. He's been to the finals 5 times.
Got 2 championships.
He's got 2 rings.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like he doubled with LeBron for an eternity.
Yeah. So nothing that would give you gray hair, which he doesn't have. So all right, let's go for the money. We got some baseball. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but
let's go back to the videotape. Let's back and play the game. My bad. Well, yeah. The Suns and the Pelicans.
Yeah, the Suns today. Ken Harlan was on the call for that, or Kings Derver.
Right.
Chris Paul took over down the stretch of that ball game, and kept Pelicans at bay. New Orleans got a 23-point lead to 6, but then also every time you went down the floor, you watched Chris Paul basically shoot uncontested threes on like 3 or 4 different possessions, and he blew by a guy for a layup. But he basically made New Orleans look like a bunch of pylons in a shooting drill. Leaders to talk about here, so we're going to see the same guys we saw the other day. Valanciunas was on the glass for the Pelicans, but he missed a lot of easy baskets inside. And if Paul is looking like he was the other day, who do you stop? Who do you guard? Because you can't double team him and you leave Booker open. You can't double team Booker because it leaves somebody else open. So you have to pick your poison there. And looking, you got Bridges, you got Crowder, nothing in that game. But you got Booker, you got Paul, you got Kim Johnson. Ian can be effective in stretches. And who do you try to damage to beat you in that rotation if you're league region?
Look, there's a reason why Phoenix was the top seed it was, and the best team in basketball. And where do you go? I mean, the Pelicans just don't match up with them. Get their participation trophy, and they'll be headed back to New Orleans to have some gumbo, maybe after 5 games. But I don't think it's going to be very long. That's for sure.
I mean, look, Valanciunas had 25 rebounds in that game the other day. The Pelicans won the rebounding battle 55-35.
Right.
But Valanciunas, 13 offensive rebounds, but he was 7 of 21 from the floor.
Not going to help.
No, I mean, on the other end, DeAndre Ayton was 10 of 15 from the floor. So, I mean, he got beat. He was good on the glass. I'll give him that. 13 offensive rebounds is tough to do. But if you're not cashing him, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. The other part is that, what you said about Chris Paul, if I could guard Chris Paul, you're going to have all kinds of all night long.
Yeah, I mean, he was 12 of 16 from the floor.
He was 4 shots. Okay.
Yeah, and 2 of those were threes, because he was 4 of 6 from the other.
Mine has probably the single most important question today. and that is, how do you feel about the uniforms done? If you have the Valley, personally, I hate them. But more merchandise. It's true. You know, I don't know if you saw it, but last night, Michael gang, but there was Philadelphia Sixers, the 76ers, were wearing a red jersey with white Philly. I mean, who calls it Philly? I mean, if you're going to do it Philly, something like that. I mean, and because it's not like you're going to get it confused with Phillies, because you just spell it with one and you're good to go. I mean, I'd prefer they might as well just put cheesesteaks in Philly. It's something I don't even get. I mean, the PHX on Phoenix I get because that's abbreviation for the city. But
yeah, I'm a fan of a lot of those. I'm not a fan of the Low Suns or the Low Spurs. I mean, I get that they're trying to play to the international market, but they're not called Low Suns. You know, I mean, you're going to do that, then you change the whole thing. You would have to be Low Soul or something because
right.
You know, Suns is not what Tony in Spanish.
Correct.
Basically, just trying to create a business is so stupid. That's an opinion for today.
Right.
They're so cool, but I mean, it's only the city connect north that they got baseball. It's almost stupid too.
See the Dodgers and all blue nose.
I don't know crazy about the Greenville one, but
sounds like something.
Hey, why don't we just go back to the Pirates with those stupid looking hats and stuff?
I kind of like them back in '9. I thought the Weird Family group was kind of fun.
The White Sox wearing shorts.
That was stupid. That was the Bill Veeck era when they blew up Comiskey Field almost. That was the crazy times. They had remember those White Sox just had collars on as well.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Black shorts and black. It was crazy. What about the White Sox? That's right. Just the shorts. I saw them in spring training, and it was kind of weird. And Don Kessinger was their manager, who used to be a fantastic shortstop. Playing Becker played second base for the Cubs, and those guys were a phenomenal double-A team.
Right on there, too.
Yeah. So he had Santo at third base on that team. So I was a fan of the Pirates uniforms back in those days, so I thought that was kind of fun. All right, so we got some baseball here. We have some guys who want some baseball questions answered. So let's move on to Two for the Money. I know we have some baseball popping up and around, so off we go.
All right. Yeah, we talked about the Heat already. I think they should take care of this because I know they will get some points, but those Ultras got to win a game plan for. Panthers over the Islanders, the Brewers over the Pirates again, and Rangers over Winnipeg. Westminster Grin, I'm sure it's Sly, but I know that Sly's probably Winnipeg's struggles early in the year with before Baltimore stepped down, probably put them in too deep of a hole trying to come out of as far as the playoffs go. And injuries have taken a toll on the Jets as well. Mm-hmm. And then playing at Madison Square Garden with Shesterkin is a real challenge for anyone. I don't care who you are. We'll look for the Rangers when they're Wiggles said that the Padres those uniforms like UPS employees. Yeah, I remember the Astros with the rainbow on their uniform back in the mid-'80s. We saw the bubble uniforms when you play on the Nintendo. For those of you who don't remember the Nintendo, that thing for, everybody looking there on this egg, and, if they made an error, it looked like somebody played whack-a and it was going through electroshock therapy.
Well, Nathan, buddy, know in your head, my friend, know in your head.
And so, I appreciate we're here for let's say Yelich hit that Grand Slam and Vivek and open it.
I
have no interest in saying that we're wrong either. Yeah. That's why we appreciate,
well, it's all transparency.
I appreciate you guys and tell us what you do well or don't do well.
Right.
That's what all of them. We're all single.
That's true. We're not going to hit it 1% of the time.
I think Rangers team total too. If Hellenic struggles the dollar if they win or come. The Islanders, it's going to be to Florida's kind of tempo in order to try and push the total up because they don't need a lot of shots at home ice. Mm-hmm. But it's quite possible you can see a 5-3 type of game there just because of the sheer volume that Florida generates offensively.
All hits the pucks are going to be shooting.
And Nathan should never go to the table if you win. That's when you go home.
Go to the bar, but don't go to the tables. All right, let's go forward to the show.
This came to me because Michael's talking about how ugly the numbers are. Did you say are ugly? That's making it here where it's in with some other groups that you don't necessarily notice. I'm going to go to the Braves again. We talked about how well Los Angeles has played at home. We talked about Freak's early season struggles. We all know about Mueller. Yeah. And you have an inside money, but that's a show too. The Suns over the Pelicans. I saw the Pelicans put up, and that's like when they went at 6 for Paul over the fourth quarter the other day. Tampa Bay, sorry for each Atlantic, but the Red Wings have basically folded like a cheap tent. Tampa Bay, they've had their issues, and like we talked about last week, Jim, you have to wonder if all these extra games have taken a toll on Vasilevsky and the rest of the Lightning at this point. Because you know, played a ton more games than anybody else at this point. Like simple team like that cup runs. But how much do they have left at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to do. You know, we already talked about how many extra games you play. Abraham, Mets and Giants. We may have that in our board coming up here, but
so
hang in there. And then the Mariners as well. So another question, and we'll.
I like Mariners. I like Ronnie Ray's payday for Seattle. He's come back from a tough start in the last outing. John Gray is supposed to come off the IL and throw for Texas. Where he said that blister on opening day and went on the shelf. I imagine he's going to be on a pitch count. I can't imagine that. You're going to throw a guy out there and have him throw 2,500 pitches. Come off the shelf, especially after having a blister issue. You don't want to give him another one to put out there.
Right,
let's face it, he's the real Cy Young winner for a reason. I think that Bears will get the win at T-Mobile Park. Still remember when it was called Safeco Field.
And so we're going to go to our John the Dark, which is everything with kitchen sink in here, folks. Good opportunity, the menu, right? Mets and the Giants, there you go. Abraham,
I've got Tyler
for that
McGilver. Who's the one that came on in? Cobb, right? You can probably stay. I know the total is between 6.5 or 7. I think it better under 7 than under 6.5, just because I think there's a little more wiggle room. Game 2 is probably going to be another low-scoring game because you've got Scherzer and Logan Webb expected to pitch. Now I haven't seen the weather in New York City today. Hopefully, it's not as it was yesterday. Other than the DME,
it is raining this morning, and it was overcast. It's very sunny at the moment, so my guess is they'll be fine. You can check the while you go down this.
Right. The A's have already saw yesterday. Also, when I won, and again, if you're chasing the under, and not even going further than yesterday, or the season now, have improved when I believe they're 0-1. Their games, and which was a game when they even scored. They lost 8-0, had dropped the opening weekend of the season, and still picture where they had 0-9-1. First game for the under 9-0-1 both teams on here. Golden State under at 6 out of 10. Baltimore hasn't really announced who to start yet, so that's so entertaining. That will be as your starting pitcher, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it was going to run it. Corvin for the win. We'll set for them. So I think hopefully have a lot of it tonight. And then we're just getting an idea of our totals here. And 3, 8, 8, 9, 6, 7, 5, 6. Baltimore has given energy. I'm going to go Boston over see Cucci pitching for Toronto. The Philly were not in the field today and put a run yesterday. They lost 4-1. Hopefully, they bounce to the half swing at Freeland. Yeah, basically. I looked for the Hawks. They hit under 219. We saw, 216 today. Minnesota Memphis over 2v1. So, with 47, they had Minnesota Twins to play high scoring games on the road, play lower games at home, Nashville played it. I'm trying to Dan Berman from ESPN for pulling it at a trend before going to the All-Star rated. It has 250 something on the road in a 12-game stretch, and down to like 212 in their previous 12 games at home. So, going around, just take a look at what Minnesota did in the regular season as far as road games. The Timberwolves averaged 118.4 on the road and gave up 118.2. That's a lot of points, especially in the NBA. Those are basically 80-style offensive numbers. Memphis at home averaged 117.3, so you're looking for some big offensive numbers. I'm looking at New Orleans and Phoenix stay under 221.5. If you look at recent matchup between those teams, we've seen a lot of low-scoring games. New Orleans comes in with 3-7 under their last 10. The Suns have recorded 6 straight unders in 8 of their last 9 coming into that contest. Look for a lot of defense here.
I was going to say, I was looking at the weather, and the weather in New York is 50 degrees. It's windy, but there's not any precipitation anywhere close. So it's not going to be pleasant from it's kind of chilly and windy outside. But other than that, it'll be fine for the Mets and the Giants game. Basically, that's the kind of weather that San Francisco is doing. So they should be in good shape about that.
What's the line on the first half for Memphis? They haven't looked this morning. So, if it's under, 4 or 5, it should be fine. I don't know if they're going to run out of milling or not, but I think that they should be ahead at the half. They're going to learn from their mistakes. Yeah, exactly. They don't want to go down 0-2 and head to the target center. I look around to a game for Memphis today.
We thought the Bandits would get over the Panthers. I'm sorry, Panthers. It would be I'm going to the University of Pittsburgh. The Maulers yesterday, Andrew, and they did a good job. They played well. They scored under 17 points in the first half. But their defense,
we're not watching the second half.
Yeah, they basically played heavy defense the whole way through, and there you go. It's not good. Unless the picks, don't much about the NFL. This guy, we'll try anybody. And the next one on the board here. Let's throw some more up.
Just saying the lands I'm going with the Kings or the Ducks. The Kings mean that we have a playoff position, and I've got nothing going for them. Much to the regret of Ryan, I'm going with Columbus over San Jose, even though the game's in San Jose. They're lost 10 in a row, so kind of hard to have faith in them. I'm going to go with the Flames over the Preds. I am Vladar against Saros. I could have also thrown Blue in there for Boston. No one won in their last 10.
And Washington, I believe he's a fade till he gets to fade, okay?
Probably Marlowe, not fan of the line is 4 for the first half. I think it should be good there. It's gone for 4.5 at some books. So.
The Nationals are in the bottom of the 6th inning, beating the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-1, and Josiah Gray.
Thanks to an error in the 5th and 11th, they got to score twice.
And Josiah Gray went through 5 innings, give up 1 run. So there's that. So there you go, right? 8 on the scoreboard here. On that, what did Vin says? I guess
we're talking about the first line.
Right. Okay, cool. I don't see any more questions. Anything else out there before you hit the road here? Remember that you got the Max Wagers Network, which starts off at noon with Midday Money. Sean Haig, one of our buddies. Allie Burns, who showed up yesterday and spent some time with us. She comes on at 1 o'clock with more wood. It's Chris and 2. Then there's Scott from 3 to 4. Then from 5 to 6. We've got Lenny, Tim, and Nick, who get you ready for all the night's action. So all kinds of fun stuff going on here at Max Wagers Network. And starting next week at 4 o'clock, we have our soccer guru, Mr. Sean Miller. And John's been on the show before. Very entertaining fellow, very knowledgeable. Just came back from the airport. He has been covering the Champions League. So all kinds of good stuff for that. Stay with us on the Max Wagers Network. Be sure to check us out on our YouTube, and be sure to hit that button, like I said, right there. And make sure that you ring the bell and make sure we got all the notifications. Give us that like and all that kind of stuff, because it's very cool to us and to you as well. And also follow us on Facebook. Gang, look, it's been a lot of fun. If there's any final thoughts we can get out on a Tuesday?
A lot of games out there to watch. Of course, there was a couple of hitters into the baseball schedule today, And watch out for Shane Bieber pitching for the Guardians against the White Sox. Apparently, Dale's title getting the start instead of Jimmy Lambert. But I'm with the Guardians in that one. Perfect that game doesn't get rained out too, because I've seen enough of those. Right?
That's true. All right, everybody have a great day. We will see you, Mark. Thanks. See you at 2 o'clock right here on the Max Wagers Network. Take care, everybody.